Welcome to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. Yes, it's holiday season. Yes, we're happy, but no, we're not happy about the game on Monday night. It was only one team that needed a win, and they did not show up. When we come back, we'll talk about that and a lot more. We'll be back in a minute.
I really did save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
I should take a closer look at Geico.
Geico has a long history of great savings and great service. Over 75 years.
Wait, 75 years? That is great.
Speaking of great, check out these hot riffs. You like Smash Mouth?
Yeah, I have an early day tomorrow, so.
Wait, almost there.
Good night, Bruce.
I gotta tune the A. Me.
Take a closer look at Geico. Great savings and a whole lot more.
It's almost like that you all were out of sync, that you couldn't get going tonight.
It's definitely got to just look back at the film. I think they did a good job disguising some things on defense, and obviously, their defense is a very good defense. They got a good front and a good linebacker core, and they were able to do some things to stop us. So we got to look back at the things that we can correct and go out there and make sure we do them for Chicago.
You have, ups and downs, turnovers, teams, coming out of halftime, give up the ball, put them on the 1 yard line. I mean, it's hard to, overcome that. But, we take fault, we take credit, and hopefully we come back to work this week, got a short week, and just move on. Hopefully everybody could put it behind us and take care of what we need to take care of, which is win. But obviously you can't do that when you lose a game like tonight.
Well, we don't need a script for this because everybody saw what happened. Here's a team going into a game that needs to win. And all they had to do is play a regular game. Talking about a great offense, well, if you can't score in the 20 yards in, you're not a great offense. Talk about a defense. Here I am with my posse. I'll see how you guys perform this week. I've been gone, still a little sick, but I'm all right. Mike Baker, Adam Batachi, Donald Hopkins, Jerry Clark.
He didn't show up like the Redskins did.
Let's talk about it. And you know what? Take the gloves off. Whenever a team has an opportunity to go to the playoffs, you go against a team that's only won 5 games, and you're showing up. Do you deserve to be in the playoffs?
Not the way they planned, Tony. And it's a shame, like you said, a game where they needed to win, they came out and it was like, what happened? It's almost like y'all didn't even come ready to play. And Coach Gruden said after the game that they were out-coached, outplayed. How in the world in this stage of the season are you out-coached, outplayed? And Kirk Cousins, I'm going to kind of like just hit him right here. He was so bad in his throws as far as his decision-making. And Gruden talked about the fact that he had bad reads and whatever. Well, you could see that and everything. They just fell apart offensively for the probably second time this season, and they was not executing on any of the cylinders at all on offense.
Well, you come to depend on your offense scoring, and when they can't score, when they can't score, you can't win games, and that's what's happening right now. Now you look at this defense, we've been saying it week in, week out. They have to stop people. They have to contain quarterback. They didn't do that. Cousins seemed to have a bad game. Everything went south. But it all started with no running game.
Absolutely, 29 yards. That's one of the lowest rushing totals in the history of the Washington Redskins. But I think the one thing that really surprised me at 2:30 in the morning driving home was
Mike, he wanted everybody.
Yeah,
I was not working at 2:30.
Well, everybody else was on the road too. But at 2:30 in the morning, 2 former prominent Redskins were calling out individual players, and they basically said 6 to 8 players barely showed up. that there was no intensity. They didn't earn their check.
Give me some names.
And then you add.
Give me some names.
I think everybody heard it on ESPN 980. I don't have to reiterate that.
Who were the 2 players?
No, there were 6 to 8 players who basically phoned it in. Well, I think Clinton Portis, I love the guy. And then Brian Mitchell got on the air and he sort of piled on. I loved it. I mean, they called out guys who basically didn't earn their checks. But you couple that with the fact that Coach Gruden said that he got out-coached. I've been counting the number of times he said that this year. That's 5 times.
That's not good.
And he's dropping his head. I didn't see the body language that I wanted to see from him. I didn't see the anger that we're going to get this right. Plus the fact you had a little cold weather this week and they went into the bubble. Now you come out and play cold weather. They weren't ready.
I don't know if the cold weather had a lot to do with it. Execution. When you got a quarterback that you know wants to get outside, you do not let him get outside. When you got a quarterback that's having a bad year, you don't let him stand in the pocket. When you have a running game that you've changed your back, and Adam, you can tell me this, they changed their back. They ended with 29 yards rushing. So that way they didn't control the clock at all.
Well, I had 2 keys to victory when they started on Monday night. I said, number 1, you better contain Cam Newton. They didn't do that. I said, number 2, you can't turn the ball over. They turned the ball over 3 times. Carolina didn't have any turnovers at all. And with all due respect to Jordan Reed, I have to say, you can't throw a punch when you have a chance to score a touchdown and keep yourselves in the game. You can't do that. And, that really cost them.
You don't have to say with all due respect. You do not put yourself before the team. I like Jordan Reed. He's a great player. But at the same time, it always makes me curious when the play before that, you were hurt. Then the play where your team is about to score, you're throwing punches. Now you're not Muhammad Ali, so I don't know what that was about.
You know what the rule is? At the holiday party, you don't have a little punch because you can lose your job.
Listen. I've been going for a while.
But Tony, let's go back to Kurt a little bit. And Mike and I was talking about this in the press box. When you look at him in a big game where they've got a lot of pressure on him, he looks like he falls apart. And again, locking in on that one option, Prescott, they talked about him in that Dallas game where he looked at first option, second, third, and he came back. And the offensive line gave him enough time, Kurt, to throw. But he locked in, and the reason why he got that strong safety picked him off, he locked into that guy and he just waited for him to throw that ball. And then on some of his other throws, he's just looking at that one guy. And Jordan Reed was open in the end zone, and Deshaun Jackson on a couple of plays, and he didn't see them because he just looked at the first option.
Maybe I could ask you 2 guys something. Where was Jamison Crowder the last 2 games? I mean, come on, he's your future. Now, I know you have to have a 3 wide receiver set to get him in, but where was he?
Okay, it's just like the whole situation. If you go around the league and you don't run the ball well for 8 or 9 games and you pass, everyone is going to prepare for you to be a passing team.
One-dimensional.
If he was your number 1 receiver during the course of that time, they're going to shut him down. As you'll notice, more receivers now are getting wide open. But what has happened to this whole thing, and I applaud Coach Gruden if he said, I got out coached. They have to change their game plan. You can't go in with the same game plan. You can't throw. Cousins is not going to complete 300 yards worth of passes every week. James is not going to get open. You got to have diversity. And we might as well stop talking about Cousins and Jameson. That offensive line got to open some holes.
That effort.
Be real truthful about that. And you look at the front line, they always playing on their side of the ball rather than the other team's side of the ball. And I had to take a break right now because Mike got me right when I was supposed to take a break, and Paul is telling me time out. So we'll be back in a moment.
Yeah, it's tough, man. You know, especially when you get that close to the paint, you can, you know that you have to stick it in, and stuff's just not going right. Whether it's protection breakdowns, whether it's drops, whether it's penalties, whatever the case may be. We just haven't been getting it done, and with that being said, we still in position to get to the playoffs, but we obviously got to do some soul searching and get some things fixed right away.
Too many times, third down, guys were just wide open. At the end of the game, when we need a 3 and out, there's no edge, and they running free for 30 yards. It's very frustrating because we practice so hard and prepare for these situations, and get in the game and mess it up. It's very frustrating.
I don't think nobody packing their bags and getting ready to go to Hawaii or nothing. I think everybody is in this thing together. Everybody wants to win. They really do. Like, they fight. They don't quit. So you got quitters, then that's when you should be worried. That's when you should be scratching your head like, hey, did we really think about this for a second? But no, we don't have that here. So that's why you got to take a good approach to why we're here and what we're doing. And it's going to come around. It's going to come around. Those things happened when I was there, Carolina, at one point in time. So now coming here, you can see it all manifesting itself.
Well, you know what? Every week we talk about different facets of the team, and we got enough blame to spread it. Let's talk about the defense. I'm disappointed. That's all I'm going to say. You make plays sometimes, then you don't make plays. And you know what? If you're going to be a championship team, you got to play defense. And talk about the charge of the line. I'm looking at, we're always playing on the line of scrimmage or behind it. We're not in their backfield. And you can't let
Can I take off the gloves?
Take them off. I'm with you.
Tony, this defense is just not good. I mean, this defense is out of position, wide open receivers the last 2 or 3 games, and they cannot stop anybody. They look like they're totally lost of not knowing what to do out there doing defensively. I'm trying to figure out, are they prepared for games and everything?
Because
they look
gone.
lost.
I think he's
don't
gone.
say the whole defense. I'm going to tell you what.
He's gone.
On Monday night, Breland played a better game than I've seen him play in a long time. I don't know the position they had him playing. He knocked down a lot of balls. Norman, he did his usual. He was okay. Got to get better pressure. Got to get those linebackers playing downhill rather than backwards. You got to get the whole defense coordinated.
Well, Ricky Jean
Francois
talked about the fact that you cannot point the fingers at the coaches or anybody in this, but I disagree with him totally in that because I think it was a whole effort overall. But he said it came down to them. They've got to be in position, sometimes they're out of position, and the effort just seems like it's not there.
Well, they missed Will Compton. Yeah. They really missed his presence on the field, and I think without him there, it looked like their defense was lost.
Well, you know what? It's been times with him there too.
Right.
And I'm not saying he's a bad player, a good player. I'm being realistic. What games can you tell me this year that this defense has dominated?
Well, they haven't dominated, but have they been able to get off the field on third down more frequently?
But see, listen to your vernacular. They've been able to get off the field. That's not playoff football.
Right.
You got to go out there and say 3 and out guys. Right. This is what we're going to do.
Yep.
You can't go out there and say, oh, they 48%, but they got off the field. No, they got to be able to dictate that we're getting off the field.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, yeah, I mean, I loved what Josh Norman said. Donna went in the locker room, got some great interviews. He said, no one's suiting up to go to Hawaii right now.
I'll tell you what, and what bothers me is when you're presented opportunity to win 3 games and you take it one at a time, and all you got to do is knock this team off, and you go out there and act disinterested.
I mean, there's no excuse for that.
That bothers me.
You take your first couple of picks, 2 out of your first 3 picks, and you have Kendall Fuller, and I got the lowdown on him, and apparently he was quite a player his sophomore year, but his junior year he was hurt. and he's going to develop, but apparently he may be coming out of that injury, that college injury, I don't know. But Sua Cravens, a tweener who really should be playing safety at 6'1", 225. Does he have the speed to play there? So it all goes back to the general manager in your draft. You didn't help yourself with those two defensive players.
You think about the Giants, they've invested how much money in their defense?
Big money.
And now it's starting to materialize because they've got one of the best defensive units. Offense, they've got all the weapons, and they should be so much better on offense. But on defense, like you said, you win championships at defense. You've got to, during this offseason, and I know we've got 2 more games to go and possibly in the playoffs, but if you don't address this defense.
Playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs.
Yeah,
if you don't address the
kidding me?
defense, because like you said, Tony, it is no excuse to go out there and play like they did in that game and that effort that they showed.
On a big stage, knowing you need to win. And listen to what we're doing. Offensively, we've done it, and defensively, we're making excuses.
Well,
they don't have an excuse going in there getting their checks on Monday,
Not
on
at
Tuesday,
all.
whenever they get them. I'm not making no more excuses. You are a professional. You play this game to win. You don't play this game so you can dance on the field or look good. You play to win.
Well, you know, it's interesting because what was the goal coming into this year for this football team? You went from 4-12 to 9-7. People wanted improvement and marked improvement at that. At this point, this team hasn't improved. They're not better than they were a year ago.
They may not win 9 games.
They might not win 9 games. So what are you going to do? Well, you better come out against Chicago ready to go. And it's same with the Giants. You can't play like this and expect to be a good football team. It's not
Everybody's
gonna
job
work.
is on the line.
You heard it here first, and I tell you what, if we don't do a better job up here, we're firing people too. We'll be back in a moment.
Oh, this is awful. Try it.
Oh, no, that looks gross. What is that?
You gotta try it. It's terrible.
I don't want to try it if it's terrible.
It's like mango chutney and burnt hair.
No, thank you. I have a very sensitive palate.
Just try it!
Guys, I think we should hurry up.
If you taste something bad, you want someone else to try it. It's what you do.
I can't get the taste out of my mouth.
If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
Shh, dog.
Dog, 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 dog.
You know what? We usually talk about specialties in this segment, but since there's nothing really special, let's go to special food. Let's go to Outback. Well, as you can see, I'm still struggling with the cold, but this is holiday season. During the holiday season, you eat a lot of food. Feed a cold, starve a fever. I'm about to feed my cold. I brought a friend back in, Aaron Mines. He's the manager with Outback in Burt, and he bought some wonderful food. But Aaron, you were at the game, man. How can you even stomach eating right now?
I'll tell you, as soon as I defrost completely, I think I'll get my appetite back.
Well, you know, you look at this team, and we had high hopes. We still have minimal hopes right now. What do you think about this team? What do you see?
I see a team that needs that next level. They need to get to the next level. I see a team with a lot of potential, a lot of weapons. I see a team that's banged up. I think that has an effect on it. But
I agree with you to a degree, but their defense is not that banged up.
Yeah.
They got some injury, but I just think the defense need more playmakers.
I agree. I think the defense needs, I think they have sparks. Every once in a while, that defense, last night they pushed the Panthers offensive line all the way back into Cam Newton. They definitely made Cam Newton in the first quarter think about throwing the ball, think about where the defenders were. They put it in his head, but they just couldn't keep it up.
Okay, now they got a big game on Sunday. I'm taking my family out. I'm coming over to Outback. So what do you tell me I need to eat? What I need to eat?
I think that you need to have our tomahawk ribeye.
Uh-oh.
This is our newest thing. It's a special right now on our menu. It is a 35-ounce bone-in ribeye. It's $51 and some cents, and it comes with some roasted garlic butter on it, a couple sides. But of course, for you, you'd need to start with the wings. I brought a couple orders of wings because I know it's your favorite.
Oh yeah, and you do the way you guys do the wings. Just tell me that again.
Well, they're seasoned. And they're marinated in their own seasoning, then they're floured, then they're fried, and then they're rolled in our special wing sauce, served with celery and blue cheese dressing.
Okay, the Redskins aren't out of it, so during the holiday season in the playoffs, what specials do you have going on?
We have our gift card special going on right now for the holidays, which is you need to come in, you need to get every $50 of gift cards that you buy, you get an extra $10 bonus card that you can use after January 1st.
Well, do they need to contact you, or can they come in and get them right there in Burke?
They can come in and get them in any Outback. I would love to see them in Burke if that's possible. And anybody who comes into the Burke Outback on Braddock Road in the Twin Brook Center, and you mentioned that I was here on the show, I'm going to buy a bloomin' onion for your table.
You hear that, bloomin' onion? All you have to do is go there and ask for Aaron. Tell him he was here you knew he was here on the show, and you get a bloomin' onion.
Get a bloomin' onion.
So now, after the playoffs, or during the real playoffs, when hopefully the Redskins may be in them, you guys have any specials coming up in January that you're thinking about?
They don't tell us about the specials ahead of time. They like us to be as surprised as the customers. But come on in, you get some cold beers, you get some wings, you get a gigantic 35-ounce steak, and you enjoy yourself.
So I set you up. So that means now you got to come back in January and tell us what you have.
I will absolutely come back in January and tell you what I have.
You guys heard it here. Aaron Mines will be back. Outback. Bert, you go. We'll be back in a moment.
Look at this, a Silicon Valley server farm. The vault to man's greatest wonders. Selfies, cat videos and winking emojis. Speaking of tech wonders, with the Geico app, you can get roadside assistance, digital ID cards, or even file a claim.
Do that. Yeah, that should work. It's not happening. Just try again.
I think I found your problem.
Thanks.
The award-winning Geico app. Download it today.
Atlantis Premier Events presents a New Year's Eve celebration featuring 2 DJs, live entertainment, and hotel accommodation. With a huge dance floor and great DJs, come celebrate with your favorite friends in a safe, secure atmosphere. Mix and mingle and dance the night away as we count down to midnight in Dulles, Virginia. All your favorite R&B, old school, hand, and line dancing all rolled into one great evening. Across from Dulles Town Center with plenty of well-lit free parking. See why we are Dulles, Virginia's best kept secret. Visit eventbrite.com for tickets and information, or our website, atlantisva.info. It's New Year's Eve at Atlantis.
So we have our stat of the week. Well, keep this in mind. The Bears have not beaten the Redskins since December 21st, 2003.
I was just informed that last week I was beat out of another point, so this week I'm going to try to give you some information. We're talking about Minnesota going to Green Bay. Minnesota had his opportunity in the beginning of the year to be very good, but as we found out, they're not that good. They're going to Green Bay, who has won a few games in a row, and they're looking at the playoffs thanks to the Washington Redskins. So now when they go up there in the Green Bay, it's going to be pretty tough. They got Peterson back, but at the same time, I don't think they have the firepower. So if you're going to pick and you don't let Paul write it down, pick Green Bay.
The Pittsburgh Steelers say that they are a much different team than the team that lost to the Ravens in week number 10. With the playoffs on the line on Christmas Day at Heinz Field, the Ravens at 8-6 will face a Pittsburgh's defense that in their 5-game win streak is only allowing 14 points per game. They've had 19 sacks in that span, and they pretty much cut out the big plays. Now, the Ravens, on the other hand, their defense is the heart and soul of that team. And in their first game, they only allowed Le'Veon Bell 2.3 yards per carry, and they frustrated Big Ben. This is going to be a heavyweight boxing match between two teams that rely heavily on their defense. And the Ravens have been the winner in their last 4 encounters, but expect in this game for the Steelers to open up the present. Pick Pittsburgh.
This week's matchup features the Broncos in Kansas City against the Chiefs. Since they last met in November, the Chiefs have been on a roll. The Broncos have stumbled in a huge way. Well, look for more of the same this week. I expect Kansas City to roll. Pick the Chiefs by at least 10 points.
All right, Mr. McGee and the Sports Bar Challenge this week. Denver at KC, Crystal City Restaurant, 7-8. Pick KC, Crystal City Sports Pub, 12-3. Pick KC. I should eat there more. Greavy's Restaurant, 11-4. KC, Outback Steakhouse, 8-7. At KC, Hard Times Cafe, 7-8. Pick KC. Harry's Ale House in Fredericksburg, 9-6. Pick Denver. And we have Buffalo Wild Winds. They're 9-6. In Laurel, and Tristan Joseph is the picker this week, and she picked KC. Tony, you got about 2.5 left to digest Chicago.
Well, I tell you what, digest Chicago is not going to be good because the food is cold there, and the game will be too. But at the same time, very quickly, what does this team need to do to win in Chicago?
They have to rush the passer. They have to stop Jordan Howard on the ground. They have to protect the ball, and they have to score touchdowns in the red zone. If they do those things, they'll win.
I just want to know, you started your career there. What is it like playing there?
It's pretty tough. Even though you win or lose, you're going to be in for a hard game. You're right there on the lakefront. It's going to be cold. But now, last time I was on the set, I said, what does this team need to do to win? None of you seem to hit it. I said they need to stop making mistakes.
Oh yeah, Tony, and then they need to show up and act like they want to play. And some of the players said that they can't worry about the cold, and that's a fact because it was cold on last Monday night. But if they don't go ready to play in that game, I don't care what they
And happens. You know, we're going to close out this show, and one thing we want to say is happy holiday to all of you. Enjoy your family. Don't let a game stand in your way because it's not that important. Those guys is losing. Some of them don't even care. Some of them do. But at the same time, have a nice holiday. And when we come back, if they won or lost, we're going to have fun anyway. We'll be going all the way to the end of January. So we hope y'all get in, but we'll be there whether you are or not. For all of you, next week, Merry Christmas. And this week, bad loss. We'll be back in a minute.
Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus wishes to thank these employers for supporting our Hire a Military Vet Challenge. Special thanks to Veteran Staffing Network, Mercedes-Benz of Arlington, Department of Health and Human Services, Montgomery County, Maryland, Bechtel, MVLE, CSC, Strategy Management, Caliber, Mainline Protective Services, and Easter Seal serving D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. If you're an employer and want to get involved, contact Red Mag Plus TV at AOL.com. Okay, high school seniors, don't forget the scholarship contest. The essay topic is identify a societal problem and how you would remedy it. And if indeed you are selected as one of the winning essays, there will be 8 laptops in the offing.